Good morning, April 28th, 2020, Hamptons update. From my kitchen table to yours. My name is John Watson. Honestly, I do have a home office, but after 14 years of accumulation, I decided that I want to redo it. Like a broken in easy chair, it's comfortable, but I want to change the feel and the vibe. So I enjoy coming from the kitchen table. Well, the pause has affected many, and myself included. You know, I've had a dedicated home office for a long time, for decades. So for me, the pause hasn't been that much of a big deal, but the pause effect has affected real estate in general. No physical showings, only virtual showings. We did have a big rental surge, and it was easy for people to rent houses sight unseen with the video. However, there's definitely hesitation in terms of purchasing with that at this point. I do think that it's going to become a little bit more of a new normal. And I did run into one gentleman actually last year, prior to pause, who was living in Japan, and he actually bought his house sight unseen over video. He felt comfortable hiring an agent who he knew, trusted that person, trusted the lawyer, trusted the process. And when all the due diligence made sense, he wired the money and signed on the line. People are buying out here, and I guess the biggest thing that changed for me as well as the other agents is, and part of why I like the job, is circulating. I'm driving around the Hamptons, looking at the beaches, and today, one of the rare blue sky days. It's just a beautiful place. And when you buy a home in the Hamptons, it's as much about the outside as it is the inside. The Hamptons are a wonderful, secure, safe, and nurturing environment. And some of my clients have actually purchased here for exactly this reason, beginning after 9/11, to have a safe haven to come to. Big sky, pristine ocean beaches, plus lots to do when, of course, everything is open. So here we are on the umpteenth day of pause. The governor is about to release some areas, but he did intimate, and he hasn't shown it yet, but he's intimated that he's going to open some areas, mainly upstate, not downstate, and he was mentioning perhaps some construction issues, some construction companies and things like that. Not sure where real estate fits in with all that, but he did mention maybe hotels in June. So, we'll just have to see what happens. The good thing is that the virus is on the decline, which is a great thing. Market reports are beginning to show up, and I've personally written many market reports and feasibility studies for clients, both institutionally as well as individuals. And I just want to note that some of the rush to market reports that have come out already are not entirely complete. You see out here in the East End, we're non-MLS, and mainly non-MLS, east of the Shinnecock Canal. As such, there's no real requirement to report your closed sales. And when you do work in the industry and you go into the databases, you can see to a large extent that brokers don't report the date that it closed or the proper price. So hence, we rely on deed reporting services. And in Suffolk County, when you have a closing, your deed goes to the county for recording, and typically it's backed up. Now I don't know what the new normal is. Usually it's 4 to 6 weeks. I don't know what they're operating under. Most municipal offices are closed. I do know it's working to some extent. That being said, I just want to point out that these early to market reports I do consider good. I said it's the beginning of the information, but it's not the complete picture. So just for example, last week the deeds that were released that would be missing from any report issued so far, east of the Shinnecock Canal, there were 22 trades totaling $59,729,000 and change. 2 were from 2019 at the end, 4 were from January, 9 from February, and 7 from March. It's a significant amount, and it's a significant dollar amount, and that would affect the median value, which is what everyone focuses on. It's not just the units or the aggregate dollars, the total sales, it's how is it affecting prices. So it's really important that that's all collected. In addition, we don't really have any real impact on COVID-19, even though we've been shut down. It's hard to say with this temporary event that's going on. It's not permanent. It's going to be cured. Exactly what effect it's going to have out here on sales or nationwide. There have been some large institution and consultants stating that we're going to end up, most of America was a seller's market and prices were appreciating rapidly. But they said that amount of appreciation is going to decelerate. It'll still end up positive, but not by much. Out here in the East End, it's been a buyer's market for a while. Prices were just too high, and 2019 prices came down 20-30%, and people started buying. We had acceleration in terms of the sales up until this event, And it was largely felt that by the third quarter, fourth quarter, we would turn into positive territory and more of a seller's market. Now with the delayed opening, not sure where that moving target's going to be. It's going to be dynamic. But just to give you a snapshot, last week from Saturday to Saturday, just to give some bearing to it, there were 8 contracts. One at $15,999,999, one at $4.7 million, one at $2,295,000, one at $1,995,000, 2 at $1,295,000, 1 million, one at $1,250,000, and one at $950,000. The market's still pretty active at 1 to 3 million, and I just want to preface this that these are the last list prices. The contract prices in non-MLS areas are just not released. It's just not something we do. 16 new listings were added to inventory from 850 to 22,750,000, and 25 listings either expired or were taken off the market from 395 to 995. So it's still a buyer's market, and the reports that are coming out are from a primary, the large consulting firms that you're hearing on the news, CNBC, Diane Olnick, is that the market is positive, but unlike a primary market, we're in a secondary market out here, a second home market. As such, our market forces are a little different. Primary markets are where you have to own because you're going to work, you're going to go to school, that's where you're going to be. You're not recreating as much as having, quote, the weekend home where you're going to fly to or spend the summers to. The seasonal second home markets, act under different forces. They're not as frenetic. But as we get back to life, it's anticipated that after a ramp-up period, sales will return to a brisk pace. Maybe now more so than ever, as there'll be a bit of a flight to more permanent safety rather than renting. V recovery, U recovery, W recovery, we'll just have to wait and see what's going to happen. There's been some, looking at the definitions of a V recovery, V recession, that's a quick fall, which is true. A U recovery shows more of a gradual decline and then a lengthy bouncing around the bottom and then an uptick. And certainly we don't meet that. Or a W recovery. And there's been some discussion of a W recovery where we go down, we come up, we go down, we come up. And that's because they're kind of expecting that we're going to get a second wave of COVID in the fall. I sure hope not. So while you may not need real estate services over the time, all the time, everyone that lives here is involved in real estate in some capacity, whether it's brokerage or the service trades. It's always a topic of conversation. So that's why I want to kind of bring some education to the market, some transparency, which is needed. And as a real estate broker, I've been advising clients for over 30 years in the Hamptons. Experience matters. I can be reached by call or text 516-551-6404 or by email, john@hamptonsrealestatebroker.com, and please feel free to visit my website, hamptonsrealestatebroker.com, or find me under social media. As the insurance company ad says, but in a more singular form, I know a thing or two as I've seen a thing or two. Call them for insurance, but reach out to me for any of your real estate needs or if you need a hand, especially during these times. The East End is a community, and that's why I and many call the Hamptons home. Have a great week. John.